hadn't seen anything like this since Ike.
At this time, our biggest challenge is power.
That's the #1 priority for people in the city of Houston, is to get their power restored.
It was boom, 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 you know, so that's what was, I guess, the scariest part. It wasn't just one loud crash, it was several crashes.
We just have debris on the road and we have some lights out, so please drive carefully.
I went through all the hurricanes, you know, Ike, Harvey, and this thing, and you just got to keep on working and rebuild, I guess.
Now at 6, we are assessing the damage from Hurricane Nicholas after the storm made landfall overnight.
Yes, as we know, it brought some heavy rain, flooding, and damaging winds to our communities. The 3 big headlines tonight for those without power. CenterPoint says the worst case scenario is that it could take 5 to 7 days to restore your power. Homeowners are cleaning up after wind knocked down trees and damaged their homes. And what's left of Nicholas is weakening and moving to our east.
5 to 7 days, a long time if it's you. Here's a look at the outage map right now. CenterPoint saying that less than 139,000 customers are without power tonight. That is much less than the 500,000 customers in the dark at the height of this storm this morning. Crews are working all across our area to try and get that power restored. We have several crews across southeast Texas tonight. Chief Meteorologist Travis Herzog is tracking where Nicholas is tonight.
That's right, and ABC13's Pooja Lodia and Marla Carter are getting updates from our coastal communities. But let's begin with Maya Shea. She's live in Bel Air with an update on the power outages. Maya, what's the latest?
Well, we're happy to report that we are down from the height of 450,000 people without electricity in the greater Houston region. Now we're about 160,000, but that includes this house in Bel Air. Take a look behind me. You have CenterPoint contractors right there literally removing a tree that's been on one house and trying to take it apart. And if you come back toward this other side, you can actually see some electrical poles right there that is broken and kind of fallen apart. And they are going to take at least a day or two to get it all fixed up. But the good news is eventually these folks will have power again. Tree trimmers were in high demand this morning as residents across Houston, including Jorge Rouse Sr., hoped removing trees quickly would get the lights back on.
It was just very windy, and the 2 trees went down, and again the power line, so the power went off. From
Spring Valley in the west to the Heights on the north side and Willow Bend in southwest Houston, it seemed like no corner of the city was unscathed by power outages. And for many residents, they were a bit perplexed.
The energy corridor, I mean, and they can't keep Houston on grid or whatever they keep calling it out.
Unlike the February freeze, this wasn't a power grid or generation problem. CenterPoint, the company that transmits electricity to your home, says it was the wind that caused the widespread outages.
It was much more of a wind event than we ever expected. Everything that we talked about was going to be rain and flooding, but obviously it was, with the wind damage, much more impact than we'd anticipated.
CenterPoint crews were out all day, and while the majority of those who lost power will get it restored by day's end, some customers could go several days without electricity.
Obviously, the areas along the coast were impacted quite a bit more. I do feel that it's going to take much longer for the restoration process to take place there than it will in the other areas.
Whatever the reasons may be, it seems Houstonians agree on one thing, that they would like more reliable electricity from everyone involved.
It definitely needs improvement, I guess. This is just becoming a habit now, or, you know, it's becoming routine.
Losing power for any little thing?
Seems that way.
In Houston, Maya Shea, ABC 13. Eyewitness News.
Well, you can sense the frustration and rightly so. Let's give you a live look right now. This is the seawall, of course. Safe to say it's quieter tonight than it was just 24 hours ago.
Very safe to say. How about we go to our chief meteorologist, Travis Herzog, and get an update on where Nicholas is now. Travis?
Gina, Nicholas isn't that far to the east of Houston. You look at the wind field that goes across East Texas into Louisiana, but the center of circulation is basically right over Chambers County, moving into Jefferson Jefferson County. So for most of us, we've had a northerly wind flow today, helping to dry things out a bit. Now, I know it might be a little concerning to see the center so close by, but the deep moisture has been sheared off to the east, well into Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and so we are not expecting any big thunderstorms to pop up near that center overnight, and that's certainly a good thing. The winds have also settled down, generally less than 20 miles per hour, occasionally gusting near 30, but for the most part, Nicholas no longer posing a threat here to southeast Texas. In fact, we just got word from the National Weather Service that the coastal flood advisory around Galveston Bay has been expired earlier than expected because the winds on the backside of Nicholas have finally pushed that water back out into the Gulf, and the water levels will continue to recede. And once again, Nicholas did a little erratic track while over land, as has kind of been the theme with this storm. It will continue to weaken into a tropical depression and not move very much as it meanders through Louisiana before dissipating sometime on Friday. But again, it's no longer a threat to us here in southeast Texas. There is still a tropical storm warning in effect for the Golden Triangle into Cameron Parish, Louisiana. But as Nicholas slides into Louisiana, we get some nice weather in the days ahead before moisture returns to bring back a chance of rain this weekend. We'll get to your full forecast, and we'll give you a recap of the peak winds, the peak surge, and peak rainfall that Nicholas produced right here in southeast Texas.
All right, a lot of peaks ahead. Thank you, Travis. Well, our Ted Oberg and his photographer rode out the storm in Sargent, that's in Matagorda County, and they saw several areas with severe damage as they were driving back to Houston this afternoon. You can see there tin roofs shredded, some walls from homes completely torn off from the hurricane force winds. They also found several downed power lines and trees.
Oh yeah, a lot of damage there. Also video right here for you from AccuWeather showing a wind turbine here. This is north of Matagorda, destroyed by Hurricane Nicholas. Of course, you see that just one turbine blade is there, the other two gone. Matagorda County, as we know, is one of the hardest hit areas. Almost everyone there lost power, and this video behind me shows several wind-damaged homes. Let's get an update now on how our neighbors in Matagorda County are doing tonight. And ABC13's Marla Carter has been in the area all day. She's live in Bay City, where there's a line of people waiting to get some water and some ice. Marla.
That's right. We are at the HEB and they are passing out water and ice. You can see this huge long line of cars, hundreds of cars going back blocks. At one point, we think it was even half a mile long. And these people have been without power since yesterday. Now, we did just actually get an update from the county judge's office. They said some good news. They have made progress. That's good. But the concern is it's going to take a while to get all of Bay City and a lot of the area back online. So some could have their power back on tonight. Some it may take until tomorrow morning. Certainly they're wanting everyone to be patient. They're working around the clock. Meanwhile, for others, cleanup continues. The hands Antonio used to build his business are now the hands cleaning it up after Nicholas tore off the roof, sending it crashing onto the cars below.
We went home early, and then this morning I came over here in the shop and I see all this roof and top all over the cars and stuff. And damaged few of my vehicles and everything, but God is good, we're still here.
He and his wife started Blessing Tire and Auto Care 4 years ago. In addition to at least 3 cars that had damage, he's worried about an expensive tire machine inside. But despite it all, Antonio considers what happened at Blessing a blessing.
We've been here already 4 years, and God is good. That's why we name it Blessing. A lot of people think that we're from a town named Blessing, but no, Blessing just comes from God.
Just around the corner, Heather Escobar is counting her blessings too.
We had actually just got done praying. So I'm glad it went the other way instead of on top of the house.
A massive tree uprooted, crashing into her front yard, landing on top of cable lines.
I was standing in the living room and I looked outside and I saw it fall. It scared me.
And just down the road, another massive tree collapsed, this one landing in the road instead of on a home.
When we came out, we just heard the big crack. Like I said, it sounded like somebody's house was falling over, truthfully. So we came outside.
Thankfully, no one was hurt. Whether it was Sean's gratitude for his neighbor's safety, an answer to a prayer, or a blessing from above, this community is seeing the sunshine past the storm. Marla Carter, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
And also looking at damage elsewhere, a Spring area family thought a bomb went off in their home during the hurricane. It was no explosion. A tree slammed into their roof, collapsing the ceiling and caused some major structural damage to the home.
I heard her screaming, but once I heard her say, "Are you okay?" I knew she was okay. When you open the garage door, it's catastrophic.
Jonathan Hemmer and his mom live there on Glenlock Drive, just south of Woodlands Parkway. At first, Hemmer had no idea if his mom was okay. The good news, though, no one was injured. That tree crashed into the garage and the dining room. It missed the 2 bedrooms inside.